Hello and welcome to Apex Racing TV's live coverage of the Team Hard iRacing League. We're here for round 5 of the series here at Snetterton Racing Circuit in the UK. It's the home of Sam Fitzpatrick, our very own, here at Apex Racing TV. We're here for the 200 circuit, which is slightly shorter than the layout that we're used to here at Apex Racing TV. We've had quite a few broadcasts here in the last couple of weeks. We've got a TCR race here. We've got 2 rounds of the series here this afternoon or evening, and joining me in the commentary box and also going to be controlling the cameras and overlay on the screen tonight, it's Marco Barbanera. So Marco, how's it going?
Going fantastic. Hello Dane, hello everyone watching us. It's going to be absolutely fantastic here, and I'd say, big fan of Bob Ross, and I'd say that this was absolutely a very happy accident to have this little bit of an issue with the timing. So nothing beats a sunset race in my opinion. So I mean, let's get into it, and here we go straight away with the qualifying results.
Yeah, we've got Kieran Harrison on pole position, followed by David Baker. Those two battling for the championship lead, of course. And we've got Adam Hadfield in third, Norbert Leitner in fourth, Niall Quinn in fifth, Daniel Lee in sixth, Johnny Brandon in seventh, Adam McNally in eighth, Luke Ide in ninth, Adam State in 10th. And then we've got Jack Iyer, Daniel Handover, our last round winner. We've got Andy Thompson, Dave Marshall, Daniel McDonald, Russell Cowell, and Connor Ryan. That's your top 17. Connor didn't set a time in the qualifying session today, and that is the grid. We've got a smaller grid than last week, and it's a bit unfortunate, but we've got some pretty fast drivers here, and hopefully we'll get some good racing. As we can see, the drivers are all gridded up, and we're ready to race as the lights come on here at Snetterton. And it's lights out, and they're off at Snetterton, and it's a fantastic start from Kieran Harrison up front, and David Baker even has got a poor start. He's back down into third already, so they're going to go side by side through turn one. Looks pretty clean throughout the field. I can't see or hear anyone going off as someone runs a little bit wide. There's a come towards Montreal hairpin for the first time, and they're going to take the shortcut on the right hand side and skip out the 300 infield section and straight onto the Bentley straight. Harrison's got a fantastic lead. We're still running too wide down the rest of the field as we come down towards the difficult braking zone of Brundle. And they're all going to slot into a single file here, as we can see the massive curb on the inside. Really difficult sequence of corners, really tightens up on exit. We've got a car spinning in the back.
That should be Daniel Andover. There he is, in the grass, trying to get back. Of course, like last time around, we are going to have two 14 laps races, either 14 laps or 16 minutes, and as soon as this race 1 is over, straight away we will be racing in race 2.
Yeah, and the top 15 will be reversed for the grid for the second race tonight, which is going to be everyone except for the last 2 positions. So you're going to want to qualify for the second race pretty well to try and increase your chances of getting a good position for that one. As we can see, the battle for second here. We've got riding on board with Niall Quinn as they come down the Bentley straight. It's a pretty short circuit, the Snetterton 200 layout, much shorter than the 300, which is the longer layout of the 3 that they have on offer here at Snetterton. And we're not going to get the full 14 laps in, I don't think, tonight. I think we're probably going to end up with maybe 12 or 13.
Lots of battling all over the field, up and down the field. So far, we have not had big changes, especially at the front. Adam Hadfield has jumped Baker, but inside the top 5, that is basically it. But this is not going to last for very long, I'm afraid. Here comes Niall Quinn on the outside of Norbert Leitner. As look behind them, there's Johnny Brandon, went in the grass at the beginning of the race, trying to make his comeback. Of course, Johnny Brandon one of the quickest drivers that I know, and of course a master of the V8s. That is not something you should do in the V8s, but not even in the TCR cars, unfortunately. And look how it goes around.
Yeah, he's just been turned there. There was an initial contact into the entry of Montreal, and then they were side by side, and it's never good side by side out of the exit of Montreal, especially not on this layout. So it's a really tight left-hander after the hairpin there, and it's difficult there. And it also looks like
Someone went wide there.
Went wide, and someone cut the course. There's two more drivers going wide at Brundle.
So it's Jack Hare and Russell Cowell that went wide as they keep on battling here. Absolute chaos, and I'm seeing that the organizers have left marbles and dust on outside of the racing line, and as you can see, every time they fan out, they kick up massive amounts of dirt, and that is not good for you. Look at that on the start finish line. That is not good for your grip, especially in these tight situations.
And they're running side by side through turn one as well. And it looks like Lee, as we ride on board with him, has just lost out 2 positions in the space of 1 corner. He's going to go down the inside into Montreal, and you can see that they got to turn left, and it's incredibly tight. And he's managed to make that move stick on Adam State. It's a nice comeback from him after losing the position into turn number 1. They're going to come down towards Brundle corner now, which is an incredibly tricky braking zone. You're going to be braking pretty hard. You've got a really tight corner of the right-hander, but this is the left-hander, and you're going to be braking all through it, and it's very easy to lock up and turn the car around, or just miss the braking zone completely and head straight on, as I saw a couple drivers doing in the first few laps of the race.
Kieran Harrison still in the lead after 4 laps, which will become 5 very soon. Adam Hatfield and David Baker are keeping their distance. There's Niall Quinn in the middle of nowhere, in no man's land, and Norbert Leitner is leading this pack from 5th place backward. Of course, we haven't talked a lot about Niall Quinn in the previous round, but as you can see, sporting basically all the sponsor of the championship and of Team Hard on his car, and of course he is a wild card. He is not fighting for the scholarship itself, but you know, being a former A1GP and Indy Lights driver, and also is the one who's hosting the sessions here on iRacing. Of course, a very experienced driver. I've battled with him so many times in IndyCar competition. One of the quickest drivers I've ever met.
He is very quick, that's for sure. He's running in a very respectable 4th position now, but like you briefly mentioned, the first prize for this championship is free entry into the Team Hard scholarship, which is a fantastic way to try and win yourself into a Ginetta GT4 drive for 2021. And second place gets a half price entry into that scholarship, which usually costs £250, and they're going to get a £125 discount from that, which is good to see. Third place is going to get a goodie bag, and then there's also a competition that's completely irrelevant to the racing itself, which is the best Team Hard inspired livery, and that's going to earn a mystery prize from the sponsor of this series, which is Hub Financial Solutions. That's going to be interesting to see at the end of the series. So we can see there, it looks like some drivers heading side by side with each other into Montreal. You can see on the track map on the right hand side of the screen, there's a really great train between 5th and 11th. They're all running very closely together as we ride on board with your race leader as we approach the halfway mark of this race. And that is Kieran Harrison, with Hadfield close behind, just about half a second, and then half a second behind him is David Baker. You can see just running onto the grass, trying to get an optimum entry into Murray's corner to end the lap, and they're going to start the 7th lap of this race with just over 8 minutes left to go.
Yeah, they are lapping around the 1 minute 14, so yeah, I would say that they will not get to the 14 lap distance. Like you were predicting earlier. There we go, Johnny Brandon trying to make the move past Leitner. Not easy to pass around here, even with these TCR cars, where usually you can, you know, bump your way through the opposition.
Oh, look at that. That's a fantastic move. He's managed to get the cut back as Brandon, and he's got the move
Oh, no!
back. Oh, and there's more contact into the Montreal hairpin. That looks like McNally's just tagged Leitner. And that's given Brandon a healthy gap of about a second. Then he's going to be looking to try and go around Leitner into the entry of Brundle. It's not really an overtaking opportunity. The track tightens up a lot. And he's going to pull out of that one. Is he going to make contact? Very close. This TCR car can really race closely with these drivers, really pushing hard. Almost touching him again as they come around the long right-hand corner before Murray's.
So yeah, Leitner has been proven pretty tough to pass. Brandon, it took him a lot of laps, as Baker gets the fastest lap of the race, by the way. And now it's going to be McNally's turn. McNally's, I think, was very gentlemanly there, because he could have kept his foot on the accelerator and maybe move Leitner a little bit more out of the way. He decided not to, in my opinion. At least that's what it looked like from here. So he stays behind the number 32 for the time being. At the same time, there at the front, seems like just slightly, I mean, just very, very slightly. Harrison has pulled the gap, and more importantly, Baker is closing in on Adam Hatfield for second place. Still Niall Quinn all alone, bit lonely there. And as you can see, Johnny Brandon trying to pull away from this group of very, very angry drivers behind him. As you can see, they are battling all the way through, as Luke Hyde gets past Conor Ryan for 12th place. And provisional pole for race 2, as you can see here, is Daniel McDonald, sitting in 15th place, but Daniel Andover is closing in on him and trying to jump him to get that coveted 15th spot. Russell Cowell, you know, waiting in the wings, hoping for a little bit of luck to come his way and maybe jump into that reverse grid spot.
Yeah, definitely. McDonald's going to have to be looking closely in his rear mirror. His handover, of course, winning the second race last time out at Alton Park. He proved there that he's definitely one to watch in this series. And he's going to be fighting very close to get that 15th spot, because it's going to put him in a fantastic position for the second race here at Snetterton, as we've got 5 minutes to go. So expect about 4 more laps from our drivers. And looks like we're going to get a 13-lap race here, as we see Harrison building a little bit of a gap. The gap has increased by about half a second, but still Hadfield and Baker just half a second apart from each other. And we can see Ryan and Air here. The battle for 13th position. He's just 3/10 behind as they come around Karam corner towards Murray's, and he looks like he's got slightly better line into this corner, and he's going to try and get a good exit. Just 2/10 behind him now. He's going to use the draft all he can down the center straight as they start their 10th lap. And he's going to go down the inside into turn number 1 under brakes. Are they going to run side by side? No, Ryan's going to give him the position. But is he going to try and cut back? Oh, massive hit on the curb there as they go towards the spooky tree, as Marco loves to call it.
His fight for 15th is eating up, and there will be no games played here. I mean, you want to be 15th, as considering that 14th place is far away. This is going to be a straight up fight between McDonald and Handover. That's a very brave dive on the outside, rarely works. And McDonald keeps the position. That was very, very, very brave, and also very, very dangerous.
Yeah, you don't really want to be going side by side through the sequence of corners there. We saw it a couple of times a few days ago in the iRacing Israel League at GT4s at this circuit, and it didn't end well both times that it happened. Ended up with the cars off the track and in the wall, and we don't want to be seeing that. But handovers really closing in on McDonald as they have about 2 laps to go here at Snetterton, maybe 3 actually, now that I've said that. Looks like they're going to have time for 3 more. You can see just how close he's getting as they run through turn 1. And he's definitely going to have a look. You can see he's poking his nose out, trying to play some games with McDonald's mind. And it looks like it's worked a bit as McDonald runs slightly wide, slightly deep into Montreal hairpin. And he's just 2 tenths as they come back down through to Brundle. Very short lap. We were just here, feels like a few seconds ago, on the lap as they run down the Bentley Straight, and it looks like he's going to try and make it side by side again. He's really trying to put McDonald off. He's going to stick his nose in there, and he's ever so close on the exit of that corner. They're going to come through Bombhole Corner now in this really exciting battle for 15th position, for the pole position of the second heat of the feature race here at Snetterton, and they're really close as they come round towards Murray's. He's taking the wide entries, trying to get the good exit, and it doesn't look like it's worked. He's losing a bit of time as handover to McDonald. You can see how the car got loose in the rear, trying to pull away from him. You had to see, really had to correct that car a lot. As they come around Montreal, he's going to try and get a good exit on the Bentley Straight, and it's a fantastic exit. That is an absolutely fantastic exit, and McDonald hard on the defensive, blocking that inside line, saying, no, you're going to have to go around me, as they come towards the braking zone into Brundle. Are they going to hold it around the outside? Who's going to back out? Neither of them are. Oh, and there's big
and they both are
contact!
off.
Oh, and it looks like he's stuck in the wall as well. That's not good. Handover is retired. He's stuck in the wall.
And as I predicted, laughing all the way to pole position will be Russell Cowell. Absolutely incredible.
Hey, you've done him well with the commentator's curse.
Andover has officially towed back to the pits, as I think we are on our final lap.
And you can see Kieran Harrison leading as they go into Brundle. This is crucial for the championship because he's just 6 points ahead of David Baker in the title standings, and this is going to give him some crucial points depending on who gets the fastest lap of the race, who I believe is Harrison. I have to double check that one. Oh, it is Baker, so he's going to get an extra point for the fastest lap, which is going to help him just a little bit to not lose as many points. He's only going to lose, I believe, 1 point. I think 20 points for a win and 18 points for second place. He's going to lose 3 points to Harrison as Harrison crosses the line to win the first round here, and we can see Hadfield in second and Baker in third. This is going to be a bit of a drag race to the line. They're all in each other's draft here. We can see McNally in front, but he's going to be able to hold them off, and that straight is not long enough for the drivers behind. We can see here Russell Cowell in the 15th position. He's going to cross the line as a very happy driver. He's knowing that he is going to take the pole position for the feature race, and then we've got McDonald behind him. He's going to be devastated from that incident. It was always going to happen, as we can see a replay here of that incident between McDonald and Handover, and
no, iRacing decides that we don't. We have to jump straight to the warm up for the feature race, and unfortunately, this cancels all the replays that we can go back and watch. So, but fortunately, you can go back to the on the live stream for a second in this 5-minute warm up and see it for yourself. Apologies, sadly that's how iRacing works. And this is just a little bit of a warm-up to get everything and everyone ready. So I will use this time, this 5 minutes break, to just give a shout out to the sponsor of this championship, which is of course Hub Financial. And Hub Financial are a company that's focused on finding the right financial solutions for people approaching or in retirement. We don't do anything else. We exist because we believe, that's on the website, that everyone deserves a just retirement. You can, of course, go and check out more on hubfinancialsolutions.co.uk, and we thank Hub Financial Solutions for their support of this championship. And of course, let's remember that they are, of course, on the liveries that these drivers are using in the competition to get the best, Team Hard focused livery, as of course Hub Financial is the main sponsor there. So thanks to them for supporting this series. And now, of course, like I said, just everyone getting ready to start the second race. And it's going to be, of course, very chaotic with basically the entire field reversed bar 2 cars. And a field that's been super competitive at the front, Dane, I would say. So these guys will not only have to fight against themselves, but also, fighting to get back to the front, which is going to make for a very interesting race, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. We can see in the championship standings, which we've got on my screen at least, you can see in the second race with the reverse grid, it's always where the drivers have caught up points, because Harrison and Baker always qualify pretty well, and they always finish first and second or first and third, it seems. And in the reverse grid race, it's where they've really managed to gain points from each other, and it looks like Kieran Harrison has extended his lead, and his lead heading into the second race here is now 9 points over David Baker, which is not what Baker wants, but he can catch that up very easily by finishing, I think, just 5 places ahead of Harrison in this race. If they finish near the front, we can see a car off on the grass, and you can see when they go offline, all the dust that they kick up, like you were saying earlier, Marco. I saw it when someone was weaving down the Bentley straight. I could just see all the dust picking up when he went offline, and it's really not that great for racing, because when you're offline, you're trying to overtake the driver in front's going to take the racing line, and you're going to be stuck on that dust, and it's going to make braking and accelerating out of corners very difficult.
Absolutely. I mean, you can see every time they go a little bit off the line, it is absolutely incredible how much dust and dirt they are kicking up. Maybe more so, especially now that we have a very, very low sun in this race. Therefore, the sun is hitting those dust particles at just the right angle. But I mean, you will see now, for example, I think from this camera shot, if they move a little bit to the left, which they won't do, of course. There's a lot of dust being kicked up in the air, and even here, of course, in the chicane there. But let's jump a bit on board with Andy Thompson here and see this. Maybe a driver that's facing in the opposite direction, because there is a beautiful sunset going on. Oh, there it is. Look at that. Absolutely amazing over the beautiful English countryside. But in just 10 seconds, the relaxing nature of this warm-up will be replaced by a very, very, very angry pack of TCR cars ready to go race for the second and final race of the day here from Snetterton. And here we go. Everyone will be kicked out of the racetrack unceremoniously, and we shall give you the grid right now. No, not true. Let's try again. Okay. Well, we'll have to go through the grid, old-fashioned, old school, with the timing tower.
Yeah, we've got Cal on pole position after taking that 15th place right at the end of the race. And we've got Connor Ryan, Jack Eyre, Luke Ide, Andy Thompson, Adam State, Dave Marshall, Daniel Lee, Norbert Leitner, Adam McNally, Johnny Brandon, Niall Quinn, David Baker, Adam Hadfield, Kieran Harrison, David McDonald, and Daniel Handover as the lights are coming on. I managed to get through that pretty quickly, and we go green at Snetterton for the second and final time here on the Team Hard iRacing E-Series, and it looks like a fantastic start from Thompson there, as they're going to go side by side further back down the field, single file at the very end, and Cal's managed to keep his pole position. So you can see drivers heading side by side, almost 3 wide, just a bit further down the field. This is a fantastic camera angles. We can see all the cars definitely going 3 wide and very nearly getting squeezed off the circuit out of the exit of Montreal, but all the drivers through the first few corners clean, and that's a very it's a very eager Jack Eyre trying to get past Russell Cowell on the Bentley straight, and he promptly runs wide and gives Cowell a nice 7/10 lead, as we can see some drivers having a bit of an issue here, and we can see Ryan off the circuit. We'll have to get a replay and see what happened to him, but we can see our leader here, Cowell, as Ryan toes back to pit lane. He's out of this one. As we can see, we're going to have to see what happened to Ryan here. At the back of the field, coming into Brundle, it's the tricky braking zone, and it looks like he's just going to get punted off the circuit and into the wall, is he? No, he's not going into the wall. So he's retired, he's out of the race, and I think that's just maybe out of frustration rather than having any damage. It didn't look like it was a particularly hard hit. We can see Cowell now under massive pressure, and that's a double overtake and even a triple overtake. He's been overtaken 3 times. He's down into 4th position, really not getting Montreal corner right at all. As we can see, they're side by side for the lead now down the Bentley straight. We saw this happen. Is it going to go 3 wide? Oh, that's not a good idea. And we can see Marshall backs out of that. He realized that wasn't a good idea. They're going to go side by side into the tricky tight right-hander. Is there going to be contact? There's massive contact, and Cowell's off. Massive contact, and we can also see Ide. Ide is off into the wall on the outside. On the exit, he's managed to get back on track, but he's off again. This time with a collision with Brandon, and that's really chaotic.
It's exactly what we were expecting. These guys are not pulling any punches. So Dave Marshall is your leader in front of Jack Eyre, and Adam State out of nowhere jumps into 3rd place as lap number 3 starts, and Marshall gets the fastest lap of the race at 16.3, and now he's pulled also a 2nd gap over the rest of the field as everyone goes wide there. Dust being kicked up in the air, very tricky to get the braking right. Oh, someone is absolutely sideways there. I think it was Niall Quinn. Yes, it was, as David Baker will probably use this opportunity to try and go for a move on the inside.
Yeah, that's one of the problems with the Snetterton circuit, is that the 2 long straights, if you can see on the track map on the top right corner, the 2 long straights in the circuit are into pretty difficult braking zones. You've got turn 1, and obviously this Brundle corner after the Bentley straight that we've just seen, as Baker gets ahead of Quinn there and takes 7th position. Meanwhile, Harrison's down in 10th position, so that's some really crucial points for the championship that he's gaining there as Baker after losing out 3 points. And he's going to go for a dive into the final corner. Really confident on the brakes. Harrison's moved up into 9th position, but now he's under pressure. So you can see Thompson right up the gearbox of Harrison. He's going to defend to the outside, and it looks like Thompson's going to stick behind him for the time being, as we also see Hadley go a bit defensive. Is the battle for 1st, or rather the battle for 3rd. You can see Lee ahead, and then we've got State and Leitner going side by side. Looks like Leitner's just lost out a little bit. He ran on the grass, and State's managed to keep that 4th position, but Lee got into 3rd position with a fantastic move into Montreal hairpin. So we can see the massive scrap, but they're going to go side by side once again into the Brundle corner. Is there going to be carnage again? Yes, there is. Come on, guys. How many more times do you need to try and go too wide into Brundle corner before you realize it's not a good idea? It's once again, looks like Adam McNally there is around at Brundle corner. That's really not where you want to be going side by side. And it looks like it was McDonald there, maybe, who they were having a little bit of a scrap with. So we can ride on board now with Jack Eyre in second position. He sets the fastest lap of the race, so 1 minute 14.8, and he is definitely closing in as he hits that curb on the inside so hard. Only TCR things.
I mean, we have seen many series running around here, and of course you have commentated on a couple of GT4 series around this place, even though the other layout, and that curb on the inside, we touched upon that during the SRA race last Saturday, how absolutely incredibly upsetting to the car is. The TCR car can get away with it, just barely, but they can get away with it.
Yeah, they can. I almost thought David Baker was going to make a move on Lightning into Brundle corner. I was like, oh no, not again. And as they come through, Bombhorn now, we're riding on board with Leitner from the gearbox of his car. We can see Baker just behind him in that beautiful looking yellow and black livery. Oh, so close you can hear the cars backfiring as they downshift. It's a really nice sounding car, this one. I think one of my favorite cars on the service, not to drive, but certainly for the racing that it provides. We've got a battle for the lead brewing. Marshall hard on the defensive, taking the inside line and holding the inside line, forcing to go around the outside as they come down towards Montreal corner. And who's it going to be that breaks latest? And looks like Marshall just manages to hold on, and he's got a substantial enough gap down the Bentley straight that they won't be challenged. And it looks like more contact, a bit of door banging on the exit of Montreal, and some blocking from Harrison, as Harrison's got ahead of Baker.
Oh god.
Not Harrison. It's Leitner. They're going to go 2 by 2 into the Brundle corner. Not again.
They survive. Good job.
That's fantastic driving from the 4 of them to manage to come out of that one cleanly. I was holding my breath in anticipation, and Baker has got ahead of Harrison, but Harrison's managed to claw his way back up to 7th place, and that championship points advantage that Baker had just a few laps ago is now completely gone as we head down to the halfway mark of this race. We've got 8 minutes to go of the 16-minute race as we ride on board with Baker, looking at his championship rival behind him. He's going to have to try and keep him there for, I guess it's 8 more laps, or actually no, it's going to be 7 more laps.
As you can see, Harrison has used that front end of that Audi to a significant extent. Not afraid today, as you know, that car certainly doesn't look as good as when it is. I think he also broke the front right headlight.
It does seem so, and he's going to be thanking his lucky stars that it's not going to become dark here tonight, as was originally planned. Bit of an error with the iRacing beta UI, causing the session to start at the wrong time, but it means that we get to see these beautiful cars at sunset, which I don't think anyone's going to complain about. So we can see this battle here for the lead. We've still got Jack Eyre at the front, and Marshall's going to get past. He's run really wide at the exit of Murray's, and Lee's going to get past him as well. He's going to try and get that draft to make sure that Adam State doesn't clinch that 3rd podium position away from him. They're going to go side by side into the entry of the corner, and it looks like Lee's going to try a move down the inside into Montreal. Marshall says no, and Ed's going to go around the outside, almost touches the grass on the entry. And he's going to get a run onto the Bentley straight, and I think they're going to go side by side once again. You've got Eyre on board now with Lee on his left-hand side as they run down the Bentley straight. Down towards Brundle corner. This is going to be very tight once again. Adam State, I'm sure, is going to be praying, and they're going to make a little bit of contact. Oh, it's a big smash there. And Lee is going to drop right back down the order into 7th position. That's given Baker and Harrison just up ahead. Free position. They're going to be thanking him for that. Maybe not Baker, but Harrison is for sure. And I was going to just about get away with that one. Almost went off on the entry to the right-hander. That would have been disastrous, but he's slightly got away with that one. I think I'm going to give that one to as a racing incident. I can also see the gap to Marshall ahead is massive now. It's 1.5 seconds compared to what it was just a lap ago. It was almost nothing. And he's got away with that one just a little bit. He's got Adam State in the 3rd position, right on his gearbox. You can see as they go side by side on the exit of Montreal. And you can see Baker and Harrison just behind them. They're going to be trying to get those all-important championship points. Baker's going to try and get ahead of Leitner. And they're going to run side by side again into Brundle corner. I feel like it's D-Day saying this over and over and over again. And it's going to be a clean one. It looks like as they run side by side on exit, and State has done an absolutely amazing job there, just biding his time and getting a better exit. And he takes the move before the entry of Bombhole corner. Oh, and he's getting really close. Is on the entry into Murray's, taking all of that curb on the inside, which, again, like we said in the GT4 cars that we've done some commentary on in the last few weeks, it's pretty much deadly going over those curves, but in this car it can handle it. We can see the fantastic shot of them running into the first corner. And it looks like they're going to run side by side once again. State on the inside, Earl on the outside. State's just going to hold it on the inside and stick his wide rear of that Audi RS3 LMS in front of Air and say, no, you're not getting past me now.
As they're heading for the chicane once again.
Ooh. And it's side by side again.
Door banging. And here we go, in the wall is State.
So unfortunate for State. He was doing so well up into 3rd position. The race was going perfectly to plan. And in all of that, Baker has managed to get past Lee. Actually, Lee has managed to get past Harrison. Harrison's down to 10th. I think Harrison might have got caught up in that one, and Baker up into 4th. He's going to have a massive championship points gain as Leitner gets past Air, and Air's going to have Lee and Baker to worry about as well. Baker already passed him as they run into turn number 1. He's going to go down the inside and get that defensive line up, and Lee goes side by side with him. A bit of door banging. And I can hear them touching behind. You got Handovers joined the battle as well. He's going to make a move on Lee into the hairpin around the outside. Bit more door banging as they're going side by side a bit further back. And they're going 3 wide down the Bentley straight. And Lee's off. Not sure what happened to Daniel Lee there. Maybe he got pushed by Handover, but Handover looked like he wasn't a bit of the circuit. So not too sure what happened there.
Almost for wide there. Oh, and then of course. Oh, well, that was going to be inevitable. Adding 3-4 wide into that corner doesn't work, and poor Luke Hyde has a long way to go, and now also I think a big slowdown to contend with. And in the chaos, his leadership looked like it was going to be under threat for a bit, but now Dave Marshall has an astonishing 4.5 second lead over this absolutely incredible pack of cars led by Norbert Leitner. So what an incredible turn of events in this race as we head into I think the penultimate lap of the race.
Yeah, it does seem to be the penultimate lap of this race, and Baker's up into 3rd position. So from starting down in 12th, actually no, starting in 13th, he's managed to get up to 3rd with all the chaos that's been going on, just staying out of it, choosing his battles wisely. And Harrison, caught up in that earlier incident, is down in 7th. Just as really crucial championship points for Baker. If he can get past Leitner as well, and that would be perfect. A perfect second race for him. Couldn't ask for much more, really. You can see the speed difference as they come into Brundle corner. Really tricky braking zone. You can see him having to correct himself many times. He's being hit from behind. Lee goes off in the background as well. And I'm not sure who hit him. It might have been Air there. And that's really unexpected. We were riding on board. We didn't even see that one coming. As I'm sure he didn't either. You can see what happened here. Looks like Lee's going side by side as they come into the corner. Oh, and that's not what we thought was going to happen. I thought he was going to come and take Baker out there. That's just Lee going off, running side by side, just gets knocked out as they head into the white flag lap of the feature race here in the Team Hard Racing League. You see Daniel Handover right on the back of Baker. Baker down to 4th, Harrison up into 6th. So that's not what Baker wanted at all, right behind him. He's going to go for a dive down the inside into Montreal. They're 2 by 2. Really amazing racing here. Handover wants to make it 3 wide. The door is shut firmly in his face, but they're going to go side by side, maybe even 3 wide into Brundle. Brandon definitely does not want that. Baker looks like he is well and truly in the lead of this pack. Handover takes 4th position. Baker's back up into 3rd, and a massive incident again. Side by side every single time.
So in the end, it all works out nicely, I would say, for Baker, who also gets fastest lap of the race, unless someone can outdo him in this final passage, but I don't think that's gonna happen. But Marshall, what a race.
Yeah, that was a really clean and fantastic race for Marshall there, managing to pick up the race win by 4 seconds. It's a massive margin, especially in this really competitive field of drivers. We've got Leitner in 2nd and Baker managing to make his way back up into 3rd, but followed by Harrison. That's not what he wanted to see. He's only going to gain 2 championship points on him, which will bring the gap to 7 as they go into the final round of the season, which is going to be on Sunday night. You can see Ide here finishing the race, and he's going to be disappointed as well. He didn't have the best of races. He was involved in a couple of incidents that really were unnecessary. Drivers going too wide into Brundle corner, but if they didn't go into Brundle corner, I don't think there would have been too much more action, as all the moves seem to be going into Brundle corner. Some clean, but most ending in at least 1 driver off the circuit.
And here, we should have the race results. There they are.
Yeah, the feature results for round number 5 of Team Hard iRacing League. We've got Dave Marshall winning the race comfortably by 4 seconds ahead of Norbert Leitner. Then we've got David Baker and Kieran Harrison. Those are the 2 championship contenders. The difference between them is now just 7 points. We've got Niall Quinn, the wildcard driver, just behind in 5th. And we've got Jack Eyre in 6th, Adam Hadfield in 7th, Daniel Handover in 8th, Adam McNally in 9th, Andy Thompson in 10th, Johnny Brandon in 11th. We've got Daniel Lee in 12th, Daniel McDonald in 13th, Luke Ide in 14th, Adam State in 15th. Very unfortunate for him. He almost had a podium position here in the second race at Snetterton. Then we've got Russell Cowell in 16th and Connor Ryan, who did not finish the race.
Well, what a race that was, especially race 2 was absolutely incredible with action. Well, race 1 was great, as well, but race 2 was absolutely crazy. Congratulations to Dave Marshall and his great victory in the end with a commanding lead over the rest of the field. Safe to say that they in the rest of the field were mostly concerned with battling against themselves. They gave us some very high entertaining racing. Unfortunately, some of them will have to lick their wounds after this event. Some maybe unnecessary crashes, especially towards the end. But all things considered, a beautiful round of racing.
Yeah, and despite all of those incidents, we still managed to have a really close field, especially down the end of that race. And it's really good to see drivers battling really hard. Obviously, near the end, the drivers are getting a bit impatient, wanting to make their moves before the final lap of the race, because if you leave it to the end, it's probably not going to happen. We're going to see if we can get some driver interviews in the broadcast tonight. Doesn't look like we've got any just
Yes,
at the moment.
we have a driver who's in the. I mean, we should give him a penalty because he's in the wrong waiting room for the interviews. But at the same time, there are so many because we have the isolation race that started half an hour ago on our channel, and at the same time, right now ARLTC is starting on the iRacing Esports Network. So you can imagine the confusion of all these different interview rooms. But yeah, I think Dane is standing with Daniel Handover.
Daniel, welcome to the commentary box here at Apex Racing TV. Pretty difficult race for you, especially the second race. There were quite a few incidents. How was that from your perspective?
Interesting to say the least. I think it was. I'm actually going to look back on that second incident now, just to see, because I think I went a little bit too deep. And I think everyone obviously got a bit out of shape. So definitely need to go and have a look back, and obviously apologise if any contact was made on my behalf. But it was qualifying didn't go fantastic. Pace wasn't too bad. I think I was just over a second of Kieran. I think he put on pole was insane lap time. So fair play to him. And yeah, the first race, as I'm sure you saw, got wedged into the barrier, which wasn't great.
Yeah, we did see that. Yeah, it was very unfortunate. You maybe could have salvaged a bit more from that one if you didn't get stuck there.
Yeah, I think it was just that's racing incident at the end of the day. Obviously, I was around the outside of Dan, and unfortunately, went a little bit too deep going into the left-hander. So, but at the end of the day, it was an enjoyable second race up until the last lap, where I think we decided to try and go 3 wide through the left-hander, which may have not been the best idea, but it was good fun nevertheless.
Yeah, that happened throughout the race. I'm not sure if you noticed, but pretty much every single lap we had at least 2 people trying to make it too wide into Brundle corner, and we were pretty much holding our breath the entire race because every single time someone went too wide, someone went off the track, and a couple of people went into the barriers as well. And at the end, they're almost 4 wide actually into
4
the
wide,
almost 4 wide. Yeah, one of the drivers backed out of that one, but
wisely,
that
I
would have
think.
been that would have been pretty intense. Next week we're gonna see the series. Oh, I actually don't know when the
Sunday.
next series is. That's Brands Hatch GP. Do you have any experience there?
So a little bit of experience. Obviously, the first round at Brands Indy. It's Brands Indy is an interesting track. It's so small. When you got 30 plus cars, there was quite a lot of contact. As sort of some definitely a lot of rubbing his racing type racing at the first round. But it was good at the same time. Like I say, it was quite enjoyable. GP layout, I believe, is the last round. Is the GP layout. So yeah, very much looking forward to that. I do like Brands. We didn't actually do too bad for the first round, so hoping I can take the experience that I've learned not only just through that first round, but throughout the entire season as well, and hopefully put it to good use for the last round.
Yeah, we certainly wish you the best of luck for that one. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Oh, there's a couple of people. I'd like to first shout out to Positively Racing for providing the very outlandish livery. Hopefully, it's definitely up there with the liveries that I've seen personally. And yeah, that's main people I want to thank is Positively Racing. So,
I have to say I do like the livery that you've been running in this series. It's eye catching. I really like the colours that have been used on that one. Is there anyone else you want to give a quick shout out to? We've got plenty of time here.
Plenty of time. All right, then I'll give a shout out to the Demon Tweets guys. So Phil, from the Demon Tweets esports team, Gareth, Dan, Phil, obviously for helping me and getting me quicker. They've definitely helped a hell of a lot this season and this year especially to really help up my pace. Hence why I'm now doing things like this. So I'd like to say thank you to those guys as well. And I'd like to say thank you to my girlfriend as well, who lets me do this for a lot of the time.
I feel you with that one. Well, yeah, that was a great race from you, and also congratulations for last week. I didn't get to say that last week, Sunday. That's it. Get your dates
Sunday,
right, Dane.
yeah.
That was a great performance from you last week as well, and looking forward to seeing you at Brands Hatch as well.
Brilliant. Looking forward to being there.
All right, thanks, Daniel.
Cheers. Thank you.
All right, Marco, we got a bit of time now before the end of the broadcast. No one else has come for an interview, unfortunately, which is a bit sad. We always do like it when drivers do come to say a quick word to us. But looks like you're going to have a battle to the end of this championship with Harrison and Baker, just 7 points separating them.
Absolutely, I'm a bit sad that I won't be broadcasting that one, but you will get, of course, the legendary Alex Simpson to jump into the broadcast booth for that race, as I will have to, uh, you know, there's a little bit of an endurance race on Sunday, which I was already committed to as a commentator, not as a driver. But I will certainly keep an eye towards the back end of that broadcast to see how this goes, because I have to say the racing has been absolutely brilliant, even more so today than Sunday was very interesting, but today it was even better, and the setting was absolutely fantastic. Against some drivers, probably not will not be super happy about what some other drivers have done, but at the same time, it was a very enthralling racing all the way around, and I think I absolutely cannot wait for what's coming up next on Sunday. So again, another brilliant round from this championship, and I honestly cannot wait to to know how it's going to end on Sunday.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be an exciting battle to the end for the two drivers at the top of the series standings as we head into the final round, the final two races on Sunday. Same time on Sunday here in the Team Hard iRacing League. That's going to be at Brands Hatch GP circuit, the longer version than the short version, the Indy version that we saw in the first round. So thank you to Team Hard Racing for putting this league on. Thank you to Narquin for hosting these sessions. Thank you for Hub Financial Solutions for sponsoring this league and helping it grow. We've also got massive prizes on the line on Sunday night at 7:15 UK time. That's 6:15 p.m. GMT. And from Marco and I, it's goodbye, and we'll see you on Sunday night.